Have you ever heard of financiers? They are this delectable little French pastry cake that we first tasted in Portland, Maine in a bakery last summer. And right away we were hooked on this buttery, chewy, moist almond cake, and that was sometimes had dark chocolate on it. Now, as far as their name goes, the story we heard was that they originated in Paris and were a favorite of the bankers in the financial district, partly because they were baked in the tin the shape of a gold bar. When we came home, we were determined to bake our own financiers. And after research, we tried out various recipes, and Eric found a source for the gold bar shaped tins, and he ordered them. And this recipe that I'm going to show you is really the best of the recipes we tried, and it's the most delicious and easiest to accomplish at home. So let's get started. As I said, the traditional tin for baking financiers is the gold bar shaped tin like this one. However, you certainly can bake these treats in a brioche tin as well. But we definitely like the traditional bar pans for the job because they make this, they create a cake with this buttery crust that's just the right thickness, and it's an individual serving size. First, preheat the oven to 475 degrees. Then next, you melt and cool 3/4 cup salted butter. I am using salted butter. If you decide to use unsalted butter, you can put a pinch of salt in with the dry ingredients. But it's important to melt the butter first because it will take time to cool down. Just on low heat, medium to low. While you're doing that, take another 2 tablespoons of butter and melt it as well. You'll find out why there's 2. When the butter's done melting, just bring it over to the counter to cool. So, this butter is different from that butter because that butter is going to go into the batter, and this is going to be on the tin so that the cake does not stick. This is actually kind of fun. I just pour a little bit into each one, and then I use the pastry brush afterwards. Now, the recipe that we used said that this should fill about 21 of these little tins. But sometimes the egg whites are bigger and they make more batter. So I'm actually buttering about 24 of them just in case we need them. Be sure to butter them very thoroughly because this is the only barrier you're going to get between the batter and the tin. You can see that if I end up with more butter in one and not enough in the other, I just pour it from tin to tin. Okay, they look good to me. Now what we're going to do is put them in the freezer to harden. Now we're going to combine the dry ingredients. The first most important ingredient is 1 cup of finely ground almonds or almond meal or flour. We get Bob's Red Mill from our health food store, and it's a good quality product. But if you grind them yourself, make sure you grind them to the finest grind that you can manage. Okay, so there's the almond meal. And then the next is 1 1/3 cups of powdered sugar or confectioner sugar. There's 1 cup and 1/3 cup. And then the last ingredient is some flour, which is only a half a cup of flour. I'm using whole wheat because I like to try to get whole grains in whenever possible. And we tried it with unbleached and a mix of the two, and really there was not that significant amount of difference. In fact, I think we preferred the whole wheat just because it had more body. Simply mix it and blend it until it's all nice, thoroughly blended. I think I've got most of the lumps out now. Then we're going to work on our wet ingredients. So we're going to separate 5 or 6 large eggs until the whites make about between 3/4 and 7/8 of a cup. I think one more is going to do it. 6 eggs has been my experience, been the right amount. Okay, there we have it. It's a little over 3/4 a cup. And then we're just going to whisk it up a little bit. We're not going to stir a lot of air in here. Just try to get a little light. And then you're going to add in a 1/4 teaspoon of almond extract. Well, there was a couple drops extra, but you know what? That's just fine. I love the way that smells. Okay, now I'm going to go over and check my butter here. And it's cool enough. I can put my hand right on it and it's warm, no problem. That means it won't cook the eggs when I combine all the ingredients. Because that's what we're going to do next. We're going to put the egg whites into the dry mixture. Mix it in so that it gets nice and thoroughly blended. I'm going to use this whisk a little bit because there are still some lumps of powdered sugar and I want to get rid of those. There, now it's nice and smooth. And now we're going to put the butter in. Butter and almonds, that's what makes these cakes. Woo. You know, some of these recipes call for you to brown the butter, as they say in pastry baking, make a beurre noisette. However, you know, we tried it several times doing that. What it means is you have to brown the butter and to get it very brown, and then the solids sink down to the bottom and you have to strain them out. Well, it takes a lot of extra time, and to be honest, when we tried it compared to just using melted butter, we couldn't taste the difference. So we made an easy recipe. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour the batter into this cup with a spout because I find it easier to fill the tins that way. Remember those tins? I'm going to get them out of the freezer. Now you're going to fill these almost to the rim. You can go back to any that you think that you didn't put enough in at the end there and put a little more. Okay, I feel good about these. Now is one final thing. You can cook them and bake them and eat them just like this, but we find it's really nice to have some toppings. So one topping that we totally love is the dark chocolate squares. So I put 2 each. But we also like kind of a tart fruit jam like apricot, which I'm going to use here. And I've also made a lemon curd, which we really love. I made the lemon curd, I have to tell you, from my sister-in-law's lemons from her tree. And then my other sister-in-law gave me the recipe, Kelly, and it's really good. We'll put it on the site for you. Lemon curd on top is wonderful. Now, when you put jams on these, be careful to just barely put about a teaspoon, because if you lump it up too much, it will go through the batter and make the cake stick. So you want to just put a little on the top there. Let's see, that's probably enough. Now we'll do some lemon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, now you're ready. The oven's now preheated to 475, and we're going to put it in the center rack and cook it for 7 minutes. After 7 minutes at 475, we're going to turn it down to 400 for another 7 minutes. One more thing. Turn the oven off and let them rest in the oven for 6 more minutes. We're getting really close. Now we can take them out. All these times will be listed on in the recipe on the website. Here they are, golden brown, but we have to wait another 10 minutes before we take them out of the tins. I'm going to put them on here to cool. It's been 10 minutes. We're going to start taking them out of the tins now. Like any other cake, you kind of loosen them at the edges. Some of them just pop out really beautifully, just like that. Here are your finished financiers. You could serve them as a dessert. Dress them up a little with, great with ice cream. Dress them up a little bit with some powdered sugar. There you go. Nice little thing. And I just have to say that when you taste your first financier, you'll realize why those bankers and those bakers love them so much. Because they're worth their weight in gold.